to this week's episode of The Demons from Outer Space. I am Bill Worcester, a.k.a. Zazubaar, and joining me as always from the dark depths of Tennessee, I have Dylan McCandless.
The dark depths.
The dark depths. Like, he is a monster from the deep. Much like King Kong.
Indeed.
Welcome, Dylan. So, Dylan, we live in a world post two things. One, we live in a world post the unfortunate passing of Mr. Harold Ramis. Egon Spengler from Ghostbusters has passed on.
One of the men who hunted ghosts is now a ghost himself.
A world-renowned collector of spores, mold, and fungus has passed away. And, I don't know, I was really sad about it. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
First and foremost, great actor. I mean, he's great in Ghostbusters. Fantastic performance. More than that, really good writer.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, has he been in anything as an actor aside from Ghostbusters that was like popular?
That is a good question, and I am going to turn to the internet for the answer.
Pull up his IMDb page, because I only remember seeing him in a character from Ghostbusters. Because otherwise, he was a writer-director. He directed a lot. He wrote a lot. He wrote a lot.
You writed a lot.
You writed a lot.
Dude got fat before the end. No.
He did. He did gain a lot of weight, which was one of the things where it's like, you really gonna put on those tights again? That jumpsuit. But he was an amazing writer, hilarious writer, hilarious performer. He was very, very smart, very, very passionate about filmmaking and about comedy. I saw an interview with him a couple years ago where he was talking about Ghostbusters 3. And he said that if he did it, he didn't want to rely on CGI, because he said if we do it, there's going to be CGI in it. I mean, it's just what's going to happen. But if we do it, we'd like to do it in a way that's not going to. Because he said he had a problem with modern Hollywood because he said he would sit in movie theaters and watch trailers for everything, and everything would look the same, visually and story-wise. And he said, if we do Ghostbusters 3, I want it to look visually and tonally different from anything else we've done, or anything else that's coming out. So that would be my only constituent in terms of doing it. And I was like, that's really, really cool of him to say. And
it appears that everything else he did was writing.
He was only Egon Spengler?
I'm not finding anything else.
Really? Okay, so I wasn't wrong. All right.
He wrote Groundhog Day. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. And him and Bill Murray were tight back then. Him, Ivan Reitman, who was the director of Ghostbusters. Of course, him and Dan Aykroyd co-wrote Ghostbusters.
I don't see anything else.
Acting-wise, all right. I'm sure he made cameos and stuff.
Egon in 2 movies, 2 animated series, and some video games.
Right. 2 animated series. He didn't voice Egon in the cartoons.
Well, it says here that he was in the real Ghostbusters, and it also says Extreme Ghostbusters.
Did he just do a cameo? Because he did not voice Egon Spengler in those cartoons.
According to this, he was in 140 episodes of one and 40 episodes of another.
Are you kidding me? That's not true. That's simply not true.
Well, then maybe they got it wrong.
I've watched the real Ghostbusters. That's not his voice. The real Ghostbusters.
I've seen the 2 episodes that come with the DVDs. I don't remember all that well. I remember he was blonde for some reason.
Yeah, they all had different color hair.
This is IMDb. They once told us that Tommy Wiseau was going to be in Godzilla, so...
True. Hang on.
You take it with a grain of salt.
Very, very true.
What if that was what was going to send us to the Stone Age, was Tommy Wiseau's acting?
We'll get to that in a minute. Let's see. Yeah, he was not Egon Spengler in those cartoons.
Well, then IMDb is a lying sack of shit, and
It is, because he's not Spengler. Dave Coulier was fucking... Really? Dave Coulier was Peter Venkman?
As in...
Not in the whole thing. Okay, they switched voices.
As in dude from Full House?
Yeah. Joey from Full House was Peter Venkman at least the latter half of the series. But yes, he was not Egon Spengler in the cartoon.
Well, who was Venkman in the first half of the series?
The guy who voiced Garfield.
He sounds like Bill Murray.
Which is hilarious.
Because
Bill Murray voiced Garfield in the obviously in the Garfield movie.
Yeah, and then in Zombieland, when he was dying, they asked him.
Lorenzo Music was the first Peter Venkman.
In Zombieland, I don't know if you've ever seen Zombieland, but they shoot Bill Murray at one point, and as he's dying...
Yeah, I've seen that scene.
As he's dying, they're like, do you regret anything? And he's like, Garfield, maybe?
Oh. That's great. That's hilarious. Ernie Hudson wanted to play fucking Winston in the cartoon. They said no.
Wanted to play Winston.
Yeah. Why would they say no to the actor who played him in the movie?
Andre sent me this image earlier, and it was very heartbreaking. It was a picture of Janine from the cartoon crying. It was like, I forget what she was holding, something of Egon's, and I was like, oh.
I saw the one that I was the most sad about was them sucking him into the containment thing.
Yeah. He showed me that one too, and I was like, that makes no sense.
Well, I mean, it's just a nice way of saying goodbye. I mean, maybe he wanted it. Maybe he was like, put me in. Well, wouldn't he? Well, here's my thing. When they die, they're going to be really unpopular in the afterlife.
Yeah, that was the other thing. He's going to get beat up by, like, ghosts and stuff.
Yeah.
He's going to have to, like, hire Beetlejuice just to be his bodyguard.
Or be like a ghost cop and, like, enforce justice in the afterlife.
Egon, ghost cop.
Oh, I'd pay to see that. Like, we had RoboCop, we had Beverly Hills Cop, Ghost Cop.
Slimer is now his sidekick.
Yes, bitch! Fuck yes!
Yeah, he's really unpopular with all the other ghosts, except, Casper's friends with him.
Well, I think Casper made a cameo in the real Ghostbusters at some point. I remember that being, like, a major pop culture thing.
Did he?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's what I love.
I was really sad. I love me some Harold Ramis. I think he's a great writer, great filmmaker.
I just want a buddy cop comedy with Egon and Casper.
I want it. It's going to happen one day.
And
now it'd be more difficult.
with Beetlejuice playing the role of the shady informant.
Dude, totally. Like, they're all under the same company, so why the fuck not?
They are. Why has that not been crossed over?
Why is that not a thing? Fuck you, whatever. What is it? Fox?
I think.
Who owns Ghostbusters? I think Warner Brothers currently owns Ghostbusters.
I think so. I don't know.
I know that they didn't make. I know Columbia was the original. No, I'm sorry. Ghostbusters isn't under the same company as them. It's a Sony property.
Oh. Well, they could.
So they could cross it over with Spider-Man.
They could cross. Oh God. If there's something strange in your web.
If there's something strange in your friendly neighborhood, who are you gonna call? Spider-Man!
Spider-Busters? What?
Spider-Busters. J. Jonah Jameson hires the Ghostbusters to take out Spider-Man.
I think he's a ghost now. You've lost your mind. You've lost your mind, JJ. I know.
I just want to get Spider-Man! JJ, calm down. Stop smoking crystal meth.
Peter Parker and the Ghostbusters team up against the ghost of Willem Dafoe.
Why is Willem Dafoe like an actor in that universe? I guess he would be.
Because I forgot Norman Osborn's name. So I just said Willem Dafoe.
That's so sad. That's so sad.
So I just said Willem Dafoe.
The ghost of Willem Dafoe.
If I can't remember.
He should be the villain in Ghostbusters 3. Well, we can talk about that too.
First, I attack their hearts.
First, you attack Dr. Venkman's heart.
How? Are we going to hire Sigourney Weaver? Yes! What?
The itsy bitsy Venkman went up the spider spout, whatever was the one spider spout. Water spout. Oh dear. Dylan, let me ask you this before we move on, because we've got something else we're going to cover. Just to say a couple more things about Harold Ramis. Again, he will definitely be missed. Big. To quote Kev Smith, big bucket of win. But what do you think this means for Ghostbusters 3? And were you into the idea of Ghostbusters 3, or were you opposed to it? First of all,
I wasn't following it too closely, so I really don't know enough about it to make a judgment.
It had a turbulent. I mean, it has a turbulent production.
Yeah, it was kind of like Jurassic Park 4 in a way, except that we have pretty good confirmation that that's happening, whereas Ghostbusters 3, it's always...
Oh, it's definitely happening, because they started shooting already.
But with Ghostbusters 3, it's sort of like been up in the air, that's all I mean...
It's been in pre-production since 2008.
I am not idea of a Ghostbusters 3, just on principle. I'll say that. It depends entirely on the story.
Well, I mean, my whole thing was, when they were originally pitching, we're all going to come back and they're going to come out of retirement or they're going to retire and pass on the proton pack. So I'm like, oh, what are you going to have, fucking Ben Stiller, Will Ferrell, those guys become the new Ghostbusters?
Yes.
That's bullshit, dude. Fucking Bill Burr or whatever.
Will Ferrell.
Bill Burr, what a random pull. Hey, I'm blasting ghosts. You know what I mean? You know?
Will Ferrell, Ghostbuster.
I'd like you to meet my proton pack.
Don't cross the streams.
Don't cross the streams, boys. Just like my dick.
Will Ferrell.
It's our Will Ferrell impression. He always says, just like my dick.
Will Ferrell, will you quit making references to your dick? I will not.
Just like my dick. I will not quit, just like my dick.
for it is too legit. Too legit to quit.
Just like my dick. Alright, Will, you're fired. You can't fire me. Or my dick.
You know what we're forced to do, Will Ferrell? You know what you forced us to do? We're gonna replace you with Jonah Hill. Yeah, and we're not happy about that.
Oh, great. Great.
We're not happy about that, but all the other
Channing Tatum is fucking Peter Venkman.
All the other comedians said no, so I hope you're happy.
You see what you make us do, Will? I'm sorry, man.
We had to replace Rick Moranis with Michael Cera. That one actually makes sense. But
that kind of makes sense. I'd see that. Rick Moranis has become a recluse.
He has. He didn't want to do Ghostbusters 3. I was like, what, are you too big for Ghostbusters? What have you done?
Too big for Ghostbusters 3? What's the last movie fucking Rick Moranis was in? Flubber? Oh no, that was Robin Williams.
He's like, I'm too big for Ghostbusters.
I just got Rick Moranis mixed up with Robin Williams. That shows you how big he is.
I'm like, I'm too big. He's like, I'm too big for Ghostbusters 3.
He's Canadian. I'm too big to quit, eh?
I was Dark Helmet, don't you know?
Yeah, I was Dark Helmet, don't you know, back in the Spaceballs film, eh?
I think the last thing he did was the Flintstones.
Oh, yeah. Let's look up the last Rick Moranis movie. I think he's been on TV and stuff, but like the last major movie he was in, I'm going to look up.
I don't know. It's probably either the Flintstones or Little...
I grew up on Rick Moranis. I always thought he was funny.
It's probably either the Flintstones or Little Shop of Horrors or...
Oh, yeah, I forgot he was in Little Shop of Horrors.
Or those Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movies. Or that Honey, I Blew Up the Baby movie. Which was always a terrible title. No, blowing up the baby does not mean he blew up the baby. Ladies and gentlemen, the baby...
Right? It's like, that's not what that means.
The baby grew to Godzilla size. Okay, so next Kaiju Spotlight.
Yeah. Are you going to do Stay Puft on Kaiju Spotlight?
At some point.
Oh, God.
It's too good not to.
What are you going to talk about?
I'm going to talk about his creamy deliciousness.
No, you're going to save that for the gay ghost.
He's not a kaiju.
He could be, Dylan. He could be. Let's see. It looks like the last movie he was in was Brother Bear 2. That was 2006. Yeah, he was one of the moose.
There was a Brother Bear 2?
Yeah.
And Rick Moranis was in it?
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't want to do Ghostbusters 3?
Nope. He was too busy making Brother Bear 3.
Rick,
you can't offer me the proper money, eh? I'm going to be in Brother Bear 3, eh?
Look, Rick, I know you gave a lot of your blood to that plant, but I think you've lost your mind.
Oh, that's funny. That's so funny. Oh, but Ghostbusters 3, you weren't a fan, right? Is that what you said?
No, I'm not opposed to the idea of having a Ghostbusters 3. Again, it would all depend on what the story was.
I was always opposed to it if Bill Murray wasn't going to be in it.
I was
my favorite Ghostbusters is Venkman.
Mm.
With Ray right behind him.
Right, yeah.
I love Ray and Venkman, especially their connection together. See you on the other side, Ray. I love Dr. Because I based my sense of humor off Dr. Venkman. Very sarcastic, very... I mean, Peter Venkman is the ultimate outcast. He looks down on everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't... everybody to him is below him. You know what I mean?
Even himself.
I mean, he puts himself down.
I am below myself.
I don't feel like I'm above anybody, but like I don't know. He's the ultimate outcast, and I always found that very very relatable.
Basically, Bill's like, Bill Murray was my idol because he taught me how to be an asshole.
Gee, that's true. If you ask my friends, like, what's Bill's sense of humor? Asshole.
He's an asshole.
He does it with love, though. He's a loving asshole.
Ass love.
But I was always opposed to it if Bill Murray wasn't going to be in it. And the only reason he said no was because they wouldn't make him a ghost. And I'm like, if he's in it, just do it that way. You know what I mean? If he's in it, I'll be there. But like, if he's not going to be in it at all, just fuck it.
What, he wanted to be a ghost? What?
Yeah, you never heard this? The original idea he wanted to die in the first 15 minutes and become a ghost and become the villain of the movie.
How would that work?
It made perfect sense.
Or
not the villain, but like he would be a prominent character in the story.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was about to say, why would he be the villain of the movie? Why does Bill Murray all of a sudden turn into fucking that guy from Ghostbusters 2? Like, what happened?
I don't know. It could happen. I'd buy it.
He became a poltergeist.
But with that being said, they can't do it now. They just can't, and they shouldn't.
They could.
Why?
I'm not saying
Harold Ramis is Ghostbusters to me.
I'm not saying they should. I'm saying that they could conceivably do it.
I mean, but I love Dan Aykroyd. I think he's a brilliant actor. I don't like him as much as Harold Ramis. I feel like Harold Ramis is kind of the heart of Ghostbusters.
The thing is, I don't know. It would seem like a terrible idea, but you never know. It could surprise us.
Here's my other thing. If obviously with Harold Ramis gone, I think the only other option I would say I would be okay with is if they got the guy who's currently writing the Ghostbusters comics to write it, Chris Burnham. He's doing an amazing run on Ghostbusters right now. And I really want to read his run, but what I've heard, it's amazing. And if obviously since they can't get Harold Ramis because he's gone to the containment unit.
In the sky.
This guy.
Containment unit.
I think he'd be amazing. I think he could do a really good job. I just don't know what story he could tell. With Ghostbusters, if they do a remake, then I mean that's even shakier ground, dude. Do you remake Ghostbusters? At least now. I think
it's too
maybe
soon.
in 10 years you could get away with remaking Ghostbusters. But not now. You can't do it now.
Ghostbusters 3, The Search for Egon.
That would be amazing! If they're going to kill off anybody, I mean, Egon would just have to be the one. I mean, just naturally. And then you have Bill Murray could be like, all right, I'll come back since, Egon's gone. Oh, yeah, I get it. Egon?
Egon, all right.
That's not funny. I apologize. The man is dead. Again, he was a big part of my childhood, so and I'm just joking. And I'm sure he would have appreciated it. I'm sure. At least I'll validate it that way, just to feel better about myself. But I'm opposed to it now. I don't think there's any reason to. Without Harold Ramis there, like part of the heart and soul of Ghostbusters is gone.
Venkman's trying to console Janine. It's like the thing about it is Egon. Egon what? No, Egon.
See, Venkman would be the one to make that joke. Totally.
He's gone. No.
I don't know. I think that if they played off that'd be great. I just don't know. I just don't know, Dylan. I don't think it's a good idea now. Maybe keep doing the comics, do some more animated stuff, do some more video games. But I don't know. I think Ghostbusters has just kind of run its course in film.
It's a shame.
I would be even more okay with a live-action TV show.
They should have made a 3 when they were back in their prime.
No, because it would have been crap then. Because Ghostbusters 2 isn't terrible, but it's not good.
I know. I guess I'm just trying to make excuses because I'm not too keen on the idea of the Ghostbusters final cinematic appearance being a cameo in Casper.
Yeah, that's true. And he's got a fucking mustache and shit. It's like, that's not fucking Ray.
It's a sad way to go.
Did he even have the right jumpsuit on? Did it say Stance on it?
I don't remember.
That'll piss me off. It's like it's got a fucking like Venkman's thing. I'll be like, fuck you, good Casper. Fuck you.
It's a good cameo though.
It's good. I mean, it's funny, but it's like I don't know. He should have shaved, man.
Who you gonna call? Someone else.
Yeah. Why would they fuck Gozer? Why would they be afraid of them?
Because I don't know.
Plot convenience, because otherwise the movie would be over in 10 minutes.
Because plot convenience.
Indeed.
I mean, I would be afraid of them. Giant ants are terrifying, but...
Clever, Dylan, clever. That's why I have you on this show, because I can't be clever. I just make dick jokes all day. But Dylan, obviously, you and I, big Harold Ramis fans, and we'll miss him.
Who's going to make metaphors involving Twinkies now?
Yeah, it's true. You know what I mean, dude? I think Twinkies should have gone out of business right after Harold Ramis passed away. That would have been fitting to me.
Well, I know again that you haven't seen Zombieland, but now they have Woody Harrelson also. So.
What do you mean?
In that movie, Woody Harrelson's character is obsessed with Twinkies, and like the entire point of this movie and of him surviving the zombie apocalypse is that he is on this quest to find a Twinkie.
You ever had a Twinkie?
Yes.
I've never had a Twinkie before.
Never had a Twinkie?
No, I don't like cream, dude. I'm just not a cream fan.
He doesn't like the cream.
What does that mean, Dylan? What does that laugh mean?
Anyway.
I don't know. I like whipped cream, but I don't like just cream on its own. I can handle a ring ding. I like a nice ring ding or a ding dong.
A ring ding?
Yeah, a ring ding. You never had a ring ding?
I've never heard of a ring ding.
You've never had a ring ding?
No, I've never had a ring ding. I've heard of a ding dong, and
These all sound like metaphors for dicks.
A ring ding and a ding dong and a Twinkie and a ho ho and
and a snickerdoodle.
And a cupcake. How is that one sexual? Oh, just think about it long enough.
Just think about it and just overanalyze it to the point where it will just become something sexual. Ring ding is like...
It's all chocolatey on the outside, but creamy outside.
Yeah, exactly. And you bite it, and cream comes out, and... Fuck that. All right, we're done. Harold Ramis, he'll be missed. Harold Ramis, he'll be missed. You know, obviously, major icon in pop culture.
Hostess is run by a bunch of perverts.
What?
Hostess is run by a bunch of perverts.
It's true. So, Dylan, final words on Harold Ramis. Got anything final to say?
That's a big Twinkie.
Indeed. He'll be missed. Dylan, another big thing happened this week.
Wait.
A little bit more on the bright side.
Wait, hold on. Is a ring ding a Hostess thing?
It might be Drake's. I'm going to look it up. But Dylan, sad news, but we also had some great news this week. Something amazing happened. Something incredible. We got the first official the second full Godzilla trailer.
Yes, we did. And it was...
One word is all we need. Screonk.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a good word.
That's all we need, dude. That's all we need. Now, we're not going to talk about it at all here, except that, I don't know, Dylan, it was all right.
Yeah, it was okay, you know. If you want our full thoughts on the trailer for Godzilla 2014, then you need to show up. You need to check out.
Show up at our fucking private recording.
Why did I say show up? Then you need to check out the latest edition of World War G, Episode 5, coming soon, maybe.
We're recording it this weekend. No SOS this week because of World War G, so we're going to do this in its place. World War G5 is we're going to record it on Saturday, and entirely up to Adam when he wants to post it, but it'll probably go up early next week. And I'll do a solo video after that on it, and then maybe we'll do another. We'll get a little bit more into it on DFOS next week. But we're not going to talk about the trailer on this podcast just because we're going to save our thoughts for World War G5. But I mean, again, it was alright.
Alright, you know.
We'll get into it more then. But we did want to be at least somewhat timely since we can't talk about the trailer yet. With this explosion of popularity for the Big G. I mean, just explosion of popularity. I mean, Godzilla is trending on Facebook, trending on Twitter. The trailer got 10 million views in 2 days. So there is an audience who cannot all be Godzilla fans for this movie.
No, it's all because of this trailer has blown everybody away. The trailer, the teaser thing at Comic-Con 2 years ago got everybody excited anyway, and now this is hit. a tad too late, albeit, but it's still amazing, and it's gotten everybody pumped. Plus, it's the 60th anniversary, which is something that
very fitting. Very fitting.
It is the year of Godzilla. 2 years ago, James Bond had his turn, and then last year, Doctor Who had his turn, and now it is Godzilla's anniversary year.
How fucked up is that? My three biggest fandoms had their big anniversaries in a row. How fucked up is that?
It's been a good 3 years.
It's been a good 3 years, and Power Rangers turned 20 last year. That was alright. That anniversary sucked.
That was
right. But anyway, so Godzilla's turning 60, and obviously this is kind of a big time of Godzilla because, the trailer is hit and everybody's talking about Godzilla and everybody is Godzilla's becoming cool again, and, people are going into school, be like, hey man, you see that Godzilla trailer? Who wouldn't be? And they're like, Godzilla's awesome, man. And it's like 10 minutes ago, they're like, Godzilla's stupid, man.
Yeah.
And I feel like now I feel like we're gonna run into the same problem that Batman or Star Trek fans have with the '09 movie. Was like there are gonna be new Star Trek fans who just know that Star Trek.
Well, that's the problem that we've experienced since Pacific Rim has come out. I think to a lesser degree, but there are all these people out there who think they know what a kaiju is, and
right.
They only know that version of a kaiju. I think. Just to backpedal for a second, I think this is the last big anniversary for a character that I loved for a while.
55. Yeah, I think so.
We've got 5. We've got 5 years before Batman turns 80. So.
Superman turned 75 last year.
Yeah, that was alright.
Yeah, it was alright. I saw the animation thing was cool.
Yeah, the animation was cool.
But yeah, I think so too. Unless there's one I'm missing, leave it in the comments. But with the Godzilla trailer, a couple things happened.
Oh wait! Next year, Gigantus will turn 60.
Oh, good.
We
all need to celebrate the Gigantus anniversary.
Let's all remember Gigantus.
Gamera turns 50 next year, right? 65.
Yeah.
Gamera turns 50 next year. Nobody's going to celebrate that anniversary except me. Gamera turned 50! Woo!
Even the rest of the SOS is going to be like, so? Just going to be like, oh, yeah. Guys.
I like Gamera.
We're just like, what is a Gamera?
What's a Gamera?
What is this Gamera you speak of?
Right? But with the release of the Godzilla trailer, a couple big things, or not big things, but things happened that came off of it. A bunch of people did videos on it. Empire magazine did a couple of amazing covers displaying the brand new Godzilla in full detail. The first look we've had at the fully rendered CG Godzilla. We'll get into it at World War G, but again, looks pretty fucking cool.
I don't know about you, but I have the Godzilla 2014 app on my phone, and tons of articles all over the internet just praising the hell out of the trailer.
Yeah, I mean, people who... I've seen friends of mine who are not Godzilla fans just go like, I want to go see that movie now, and I'm like, cool, this trailer is working. Late marketing, but effective marketing.
Yeah, I'm no longer going to say that it's good. It's bad marketing. It's good marketing. It's just
they've done a job.
They've just taken their own sweet fucking time doing it.
Anyway, we'll get into all this at World War G.
Right.
One thing that a major YouTube channel did that was really cool. And they've shown themselves to be Godzilla fans in the past, but they've never done a video of this sort. They did the YouTube channel Watch Mojo, who's a major pop culture YouTube channel on YouTube.
Yes, I for one enjoy quite a few of their videos.
I do as well. They're very, very objective about it, which is cool. They cover a wide gamut of almost everything that's geek. They do Doctor Who, Star Trek, Star Wars, everything. And there's something there for everybody, and they're very professional about it. They've got clips, they've got a very professional layout, so I dig it a lot.
No, I think it was like 2 years ago that they did a video about who Godzilla is as a character.
Right, they did the origin. They have this series. I think what they really got popular for is they would do these videos summarizing the origin of characters.
They would do it for superheroes. They would do it for supervillains. I've watched.
They would do it for film characters.
And they did one for Godzilla, and it was. You could tell that they were.
Fine.
You could tell that they were definitely casual fans.
They're casual Godzilla fans. And that's the big thing. It's like, I'm not going to I don't want to sound like a Godzilla snob, even though I've come off as that before a lot. But we don't want to come off that way, but they're clearly not deep, hardcore Godzilla fans who have sat through all of the movies several times, have analyzed the different cuts and all that, which is fine, but it's a very casual meander through Godzilla's origin.
What we're saying is they're not on our level.
No, not at all. And again, that's fine. But you can be a casual Godzilla fan. You don't have to be hardcore with everything. But that being said,
some people do.
Some people do. And as hardcore Godzilla fans, we watch that and we're like, it's cool, but I could do better. But again, that's fine. You can be a casual Godzilla fan, and that's great. I'm not going to discriminate. But
in terms of presentation, obviously they blew away anything I could have done. But
of course, it looks great, but some of the information's a little bit, and it's not wrong either, which is annoying. It's just it's not said properly. You know what I mean?
It's almost like tidbits are omitted, and you're like, no, go back.
It seems a bit and this is probably not true at all, but it almost comes off a little bit like they just watched they would when you do like an English paper on a book you read like 3/4 of and you just kind of exaggerated the rest of it.
It's almost like Cliff Notes Godzilla or
definitely
Godzilla.
And because it's Cliff Notes, they kind of change some of the facts to fit their narrative of what they want to tell about Godzilla.
Or Godzilla for Dummies.
Very much so. And if you are not a Godzilla fan who's interested in the character, I would say check it out. But that being said,
if you're a person who doesn't like classic Godzilla and never intends to watch a Japanese movie to the day you die, it would be nice to watch before you see the new movie, if you're planning on seeing the new movie.
Indeed, because of all the things we know they're doing classic Godzilla. At least origin-wise and characterization-wise.
Yeah, maybe a tone that's a tad not classic but more original. Maybe.
Right. They're going back to the basics of Godzilla.
Maybe even a bit more. The lightest I can see them going is dark. I say.
Oh, definitely. I would say it's very much so. It's 84. It's 54. It's GMK even. Although GMK is a little lighter than those are, or 2000 even. These are the things they seem to be going for. But because if you don't want to get into that, but you want to know about Godzilla, I would say that it's a good thing to watch. That being said, the only other Godzilla video they've done, to my knowledge, that's just specifically about Godzilla, they posted the other day when the trailer came out, which was their list of the top 10 Godzilla movies.
I checked in it.
Which Dylan and you and I both watched.
It was posted on the 26th.
So it came out the same day as the trailer. Now!
No, the trailer was the 25th.
Okay, it came out the day after. I'm sorry. Now...
Yeah, you bet you are. No.
I'm sorry. Now... I went into this I know they're casual Godzilla fans. I have a feeling I'm going to disagree with this list a lot. And I wasn't worried because I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I have my taste with Godzilla, and they're going to be different with theirs. But I watched it I'm going to watch this and get angry because I'm a Godzilla fan, and I'm like, oh, that's wrong. And I hate being that way, especially nowadays, because I look back at some of my older Godzilla videos, and I'm like, they don't know this about Godzilla. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up, kid. Nobody cares. So I don't want to be that guy anymore.
You're like,
but I still feel that somewhere in my gut that thing still occurs to me.
I just have this great mental image of you yelling at younger Bill, like, "Shut the fuck up, younger Bill! No one cares what you have to say. You made Ghost Skater."
Shut the fuck up, you little fuck! And don't gain any weight because I'm fat because of your mistakes. Young Bill was skinny, man. Young Bill was a strapping young lad.
I was the same way. I didn't start putting on weight until 5th grade.
5th grade? I didn't start putting on weight till fucking 10th grade.
5th grade was when I started binge eating.
Yeah, once I stopped playing golf, I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, see, I never had a sport, if you consider golf a sport.
I do. Well, I used to walk. I didn't take a cart. I would walk. And I wasn't fucking Adonis, but I had a decent build. I only had one shin. Now I've got kind of 1.5 now. Like I've got kind of like a dewlap, like Zilla.
From Tiger Woods to Bruce Valanche.
The Walrus. The
title of your biography.
That's the title. From Tiger Woods to Bruce Valanche, the Bill Worcester story.
Bruce Valanche is very
Makes me
offended.
like eating a giant sandwich on the cover.
It's you when you started, so like you still you're like on the golf course, you've still got your gear on, but you have this like huge McDonald's burger.
like a quarter pounder.
And you're staring at it knowingly, as if you realize that this is your future.
Like this, like I know this is gonna ruin my life, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
You walk by a Wendy's and you see like a picture for the triple stack, and you're like, ugh.
I eat it, but I hate myself about it. I'm like, oh, I fucking hate myself. Oh.
Give me more, please.
I'm a fat monster. Ah!
I'm the obese.
More food. I felt that way a lot as a child.
Like a fat monster.
Remember that Louis C.K. did this bit once where he was talking about Cinnabon? And he was talking about nobody is ever happy eating a Cinnabon. Everybody on the line for Cinnabon just looks like me and is always sad. And you eat a Cinnabon, you have the cup of hot jizz, and you drizzle it on that Cinnabon, and you eat it like a child, and you wipe your face off with a bag, just hate yourself. It's like I felt that way so often. You know you were at the lowest point of your life when you wiped your face off with the bag.
Where you've been wiping all the grease.
Yes.
And then you wonder why you have acne later on in life.
Right? Oh God. Anyway, so back to Godzilla. In honor of the trailer release of Godzilla, Watch Mojo put out their list of top 10 Godzilla movies. Dylan and you and I both watched it.
We did.
And it was not as questionable as I thought it would be.
No, it was pretty legit. I wonder if they hired Godzilla fans to make that list for them.
They hired Godzilla fans. Well, because it's narrated by a woman. You know she's never seen a Godzilla movie.
Oh, of course. Women don't like Godzilla.
Except for Nicola, but she doesn't count.
Bill's just like,
she's not listening to this.
Bill's just like, she's not a woman.
No, she is, but she's not like a real, like...
Woman?
She's not a... She's a fake woman, man. She's a fucking transsexual. No, she doesn't listen to this, so she won't yell at me, but...
She's one of the replicants from Blade Runner.
And if you have sex with one, you just feel bad about yourself afterwards. Anyway, whoa, that went dark. So top 10 best Godzilla movies. I wrote all of them down. I have their entire list here in front of me, in order. But, Dylan, what was your take? Did you like the list? Did you enjoy it?
Like you, it wasn't as questionable as I thought it was going to be. And I thought...
But there were some choices where it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and there were some that I think that are, definitely on my list as well, but need to be moved around.
Oh, for sure. I completely agree with that.
The main thing is that they got one major thing right. In that their choice for number one.
Oh, of course. I mean, but that's obvious though. I knew that was going to be the number one. I was more curious with the middle stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because any casual Godzilla fan is going to go, oh, the original is the best. But the rest of them is where it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, are you just going to read their list off en masse, or are you going to go through them like one at a time?
We're going to go through one at a time.
Okay. So what is
and we're going to analyze it, whether or not we agree with it. And also what I thought would be kind of cool, because I haven't done this in years. I haven't numbered my favorite Godzilla movies in years. And I know that you've never done it.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yeah.
So I think it'd be really cool if we don't do it just casually like, oh, my number 5 is this. But we kind of insert our own where we think those should be. You know what I mean? Like we say they're number 7, we're like, I don't agree with that, I'll put this there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think we should do that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through WatchMojo.com's list of the top 10 best Godzilla movies. Now bear in mind, they're saying best, not favorite. Meaning this is objective.
Right. See, I'm not... My list is...
I'm going to say favorite, not best, because I don't operate that way.
My list is very objective. Nostalgia plays a huge role.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And again, they're not huge Godzilla fans, obviously, so it makes sense that they
Right.
wouldn't necessarily be making their judgments from a nostalgia-based place.
No, they come off very much so like they got into Godzilla. Like, they come off to me like people who got into Godzilla in college. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, here's Godzilla. Look at him. He's fucking beating the shit out of that monster. That's how it comes off to me.
People in
Can I
college.
say my biggest problem with this list?
What is your biggest complaint?
They don't give reasons why they number them this way.
No, they
tend to just summarize the movie, make a couple quick jokes, and move on.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to say, why do you think that so-and-so is the 10th best Godzilla movie? Why do you think
Right.
so-and-so is number 5? Why?
They just say why they're good. They don't say why they're that position. Like, they'll be like, oh, Astro Monster is fun. I mean, the one they do the best at validating, and it doesn't really work because it's one of the lower ones, is 84.
Mm-hmm.
They talk a lot about 84.
I think they also do a decent job of explaining why 54 is in its placement.
Yeah, definitely.
Those are the only two, though. The rest of them is just like, this happened, and it was awesome. And you're like, okay.
And then they move on to the next one. And one of them, they don't explain at all. It's just there, and it's like, that one doesn't deserve to be there. Well, I think you know which one I'm talking about. We'll get there. So, Dylan, let's go through the list of the top 10 best Godzilla movies according to WatchMojo.com. You ready?
Let's do this.
Number 10, according to WatchMojo.com, Invasion of the Astro Monster.
No, not the. Just Invasion.
I'm sorry. Invasion of Astro Monster.
Because WatchMojo.com does not believe in the word the, apparently.
I don't think they say it for the next one either, because it's got a the on the title.
I heard it.
Did you? Okay, I didn't hear it, so they have it there. But this one was Invasion of Astro Monster. It's like, which one's the Astro Monster?
Right.
I mean, I'm assuming they're talking about King Ghidorah, but it's like, or Ghidorah rather, in this movie. Which, by the way, I got called out for that a lot in my Godzilla Palooza. I do that to distinguish era.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, I remember, for like Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, I call it Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster because A, that rolls off the tongue.
It does.
And B,
Ghidorah
it kind of differentiates itself from the other movies that have Ghidorah in it.
Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster just doesn't roll the same way.
Yeah, I think that's just nostalgic. I mean, I'm sure if I grew up with it that way, it'd be different, but I just remember that way.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go into a lot of detail why they put this one here, except they say that it's got a good fight at the end, which, I don't know, Astro Monster is not one of the crowning achievements of Godzilla fights, in my opinion.
Mm.
It's good, but it's not one of the best fights.
I think the thing about Astro Monster is I think it's very important to the history of the series.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the first time that they go all, like, out there sci-fi.
Yes, very much so. I mean, it's the first alien invasion plot, because Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster isn't an alien invasion plot.
And it is definitely in my top 20, but I would not put it in top 10.
I don't know. I don't think it would break my top 10 either. Maybe. I like Astro Monster a lot. It's a very fun movie. The chemistry between Nick Adams and Akira Takarada is fantastic, especially given the fact that they're speaking different languages. Mm-hmm. It's very, very dynamic, and they come off like real friends in both versions. And because obviously in America it was called Godzilla vs. Monster Zero.
Or just Monster Zero.
They're great in both versions. The guy who dubs Akira Takarada does fine, and obviously that's where you hear Nick Adams' real performance, and then obviously other way around in the other version. They're great in both versions. But Astro Monster has the problem of Godzilla is very inconsequential in the plot.
Yeah. Again, as I said, very important to the history, and that's obviously why it was included in the Toho Masterworks edition DVDs. It's very important to the history, but in terms...
Well, then they were doing all the Yoshiro Honda movies that they could get the rights to.
Right. In terms of quality, though, I don't know if it deserves to be in the top 10.
Right, it's a fun movie, but it's flawed, definitely. Very, very flawed.
It's got some important innovations that would appear again and again and again throughout the series. Again,
monster control is a big part of it.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the biggest. I mean, obviously, this is the first time that we have the people, the Exilians and the people from the Planet X, which are the most iconic alien race in Godzilla.
Well, they established the fact that Toho does great aliens,
and the controller of the Planet X.
The idea of monster mind control is something that pops up so often, and
Right.
They sort of pioneered here. It's very important to the history.
Very, very important. Space travel, obviously, all that stuff.
But I wouldn't even say that it's as important as the previous film. And again, I don't think I would put it on this list.
Yeah, and we'll get to the previous film in a second, ironically. Yeah, I wouldn't put Astro Monster in my top 10. Again, I like Astro Monster a lot, but it's flawed because I watch Godzilla movies for Godzilla, and more than I watch Godzilla movies for the monster's place in the plot. And to me, my favorite Godzilla movies are the ones where the monsters inform the plot rather than the story inserting the monsters where they can. And this is very much so an example of that. It's an alien invasion story where the monsters are nothing more than big guns.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be fun, but it leads to a movie where you're waiting for the monsters to pop up, and Godzilla doesn't get any face time until about a half hour in, I guess, 20 minutes to a half hour. He's really only in 3 major scenes, so and to be fair, his name isn't in the title, so whatever. But still, I think that's the biggest problem with the movie. That and it's a little slow at points.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, moving on. Number 9, according to WatchMojo.com, Ghidra, the three-headed monster, as we talked about earlier. This is definitely in my top 10. Something
that people will notice as we go through this list is that these people, the WatchMojo people, have a serious hard-on for King Ghidorah.
They do. It's weird. They have a lot of movies in here that have got King Ghidorah in it. Which is fine. I mean, he's Godzilla's arch nemesis. He's been in more Godzilla movies than any other Godzilla monster, so it makes sense. He definitely pops up quite a bit in my top 10, but this definitely goes in my top 10. I fucking love Ghidra, the three-headed monster. I mean, 2 big reasons. One, Godzilla is important to the story, but he's not just a big gun in this version because he makes his own decision, which is very important to me as a Godzilla fan, because it's one of the only times where that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Very often Godzilla kind of gets forced into his own circumstances, but he makes a decision this time.
Right.
Which I really liked. To be fair, he doesn't have much of a choice. I mean, it's either this or just let the planet get destroyed, and he'll have to die anyway. But he decides to fight with Mothra of his own volition, which is something I like. They don't give a lot of reasons why they put it here. I mean, what did they say? They said that, Godzilla's fighting for the humans this time, and it's a big monster mash, but they don't go into the reasons why it's one of their favorites. You know what I mean?
Right. And again, this one I think is more valid being on the list than the last one. Like the last one, it's very important to the history of the series.
Very, very. This is the first major monster. This is the first time in monster movie history where you've got multiple monsters fighting on screen at once.
Well, not only that, but it marks the beginning of Godzilla's character transformation.
Very much so. That too. Also, espionage being a big part of the plot. That was inserted later.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first movie at all, first Godzilla movie at all to have aliens in it, even tangentially involved.
Right.
With the Martian/Venusian.
Not an invasion, but
they're present, and Ghidra himself is an alien creature. So it's there at least in some regard.
Mm-hmm.
I love Ghidra.
I guess you could, if you consider it, you could technically consider it an alien invasion in that Ghidra is invading.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know where Ghidra comes from. He comes off in this first movie very much so like Sutekh from Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
He's destroys because he finds that good.
Yeah, I've always pictured him. Of course, I wasn't a Doctor Who fan the first time I saw this movie. I've always pictured him like Galactus from Marvel. I've always imagined him just going from planet to planet, just fucking shit up.
Right, I agree. I just said Sutekh because I just watched Pyramid of Mars the other day. So.
Oh, for the first time?
Yes, it's a great episode. It's probably my favorite classic Who episode I've seen so far.
I love Sutekh.
Because Sutekh is a fucking badass.
I wonder why they decided to call him Sutekh, because, in Egyptian mythology, he's also the god Seth.
Set, yeah.
Set. Well, some people pronounce it Seth for some reason.
Which is stupid.
And I mean, Sutekh's a better name, but that's the name that more people recognize. But anyway.
Well, I mean, the Doctor does say you're known by many names, and all of them despise Set, Satan, Samos,
dude with the dog head.
My only problem with that is when we see Satan later on in New Who, it's like, wait a minute.
Sutekh? Is that
two of these guys now? And both of them... that's what the other thing that going back now on and thinking about the Satan Pit, it's kind of a ripoff of Pyramid of Mars, isn't it?
In some regards, yes.
And Sutekh is a lot more badass than that fucking devil.
I would much rather have them just be... They need to distinguish them as two completely separate beings. Because
Oh, they definitely are. I'm just saying that I think Sutek's cooler.
Obviously, I mean, it's two different things, because Sutekh is you know, an evil alien entity. And what I got from that beast, that monster, is that I got the feeling that he was just some sort of, like, thing that has existed since the dawn of the universe, you know, some sort of, like, primordial being that was, like, born out of the Big Bang. That was my interpretation.
Right, that's the thing. They don't well, they say it's before the Big Bang.
Do they?
They say it's before time, yeah. Which has been in Doctor Who before.
So basically,
like the Infinite Quest, it's an idea that they say is that there was a time before the universe.
So basically, he's Galactus.
A little bit. I don't care for the Satan Pit that much. The dynamic between Satan and the Doctor is great.
Yeah, I mean, they make it pay off great later on in Torchwood.
But it does not have to be a two-parter. It does not have to be a two-parter at all.
No, it's entirely too long. They could have gotten away with it in one episode, because a lot of it drags.
Well, the Ood are really... The Ood are the villains for the first part. And, I mean, their first appearance is not glorifying. They got much better episodes later on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were just supposed to be creepy that first time, and they got that in spades.
Right.
With the red glowing eyes and the satanic worship.
Right, and then obviously that first appearance of them being very, very dry was cool. And the whole idea of them being slaves was obviously introduced there. It's good. It's okay, I guess. It's just not one of my favorites. It's just too long. And that's where Rose started to get a little creepy, where she was becoming very, very attached to the Doctor in a kind of a creepy way.
Mm-hmm. We need more. We need more Ood. I miss the Ood.
Yeah, we haven't seen them since Pond Life was their last appearance.
Yeah, I need more Ood.
It's been a while.
I miss those tentacle-faced bastards.
I think there was a reference to them in Day of the Doctor, though.
I think maybe. I don't know.
I don't remember. But otherwise, the last time I remember them was Pond Life. And then there was an Ood in The Doctor's Wife.
Yeah. So Ghidra, the three-headed monster.
Right, back to the list of Godzilla movies. I love Ghidra. There's a lot of James Bond stuff in it, which I was like, fucking cool. Obviously, Bond was really big at this time, so it's not surprising that that's present. There was a little bit of that in the previous film, but it's a lot more present here with the espionage of an assassination attempt in the police force, and it's all woven in fairly well. I really like Ghidra a lot. The other thing I really like about it is it's got some good atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Those scenes where they're in that camp down by the meteorite are very, very creepy.
Yeah, I would agree.
And the opening shots of Tokyo, like at 2 in the morning when they're all waiting for the UFOs to come, it's got a kind of a creepy vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that sound of like dun dun, that Close Encounters thing where it's like dun 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 dun. The lights are flashing.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's supposed to be, but those opening frames were like this major component of my childhood. I have so much nostalgia for those opening frames. I used to just I used to just fucking hum that because of that scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That, and you remember later on in the movie, when the meteorites fall and they're going to investigate them, there's a scene, I don't remember what it was, but there's a military blockade in front of this tunnel when they're driving up to go climb the mountain. And one of the soldiers says something like, "Oh my God, oh my God." And that was a major sound effect from my childhood. It stuck with me for years. I still remember it. Just that specific sound effect. It's weird, dude. I don't know. The strangest things stick with you from childhood. I don't know if you remember that.
Not specifically.
But it's a major thing. What's your take on Ghidra?
Everything you've said. I really, really love Ghidra. As I said, obviously very important, but also what it has over Astro Monster is that also just a really good Godzilla movie. Apart from being so important to the history of the series, it's also one of the better installments of early Showa.
Definitely.
Introduces
Ghidra,
obviously, later to be renamed King Ghidorah, arch enemy of Godzilla.
Reintroduces Rodan for the first time in a bunch of years.
Right, he doesn't look that great.
He looks alright. I mean, he looks very, I don't know, he looks weird.
Brings Mothra back and doesn't explain what happened to his twin.
Yeah, his, which is interesting, because it gets called her later on, in a Sea Monster when it's all grown up.
It became a woman.
I guess they would have to be, right? I guess that they would have to be in order to reproduce if there's only supposed to be one. Wouldn't they all be born female?
I guess, unless Mothra's...
How does Mothra fuck?
Unless Mothra is one of those species that, like, can switch its sex.
I guess I mean, wouldn't they be, what's the word? What is it when you're kind of both sexes? Like Frieza was, kind of?
Asexual?
No. I mean, yes, kind of, but like, what's the word? I don't remember. But I guess Mothra would kind of have to be both sexes because there's only one of them at a time.
Well, I never imagined Mothra reproducing in the biological sense. I always just assumed it was some mystical bullshit.
Yeah, it's very much so an immaculate conception in a way.
Mothra is Jesus.
Kind of. Mothra is Jesus in the Son of God.
I'd see it.
That's terrible.
I would see it.
I would see Mothra is Jesus in Son of God. Son of Godzilla! Oh!
Oh, wait.
God, that wasn't on this list.
That would mean that Mothra would be, never mind.
Not only Godzilla's child, but a dude.
And a butterfly.
You don't know what Godzilla fucked.
You look at Godzilla, you're like, Godzilla, what did you do? Was it like Ebra, Kamacuras?
It's like that moment from three-way between Kamacuras, Rodan, and Godzilla.
Oh my.
It's like that moment from Family Guy where Brian has sex with one of Lois's father's dogs, and at the end she gives birth, and it's the fucking dude's kids.
Oh, this is so off topic, but have you ever seen the episode where they decided to fake Quagmire's death?
Yes.
And then he's like, and then a T-Rex came and ate the body, and it's just clear. It's just clearly him holding up a toy T-Rex in front of the camera singing the theme song.
Yeah, it was great. I love that. But yeah, that's Ghidra the Three-Headed Monster. Number 8, Dylan. Number 8. Oh, by the way, I would put Ghidra higher on this list, honestly. Not much higher, but I would definitely put it higher. Number 8, The Return of Godzilla from 1984. Goes higher for me.
Yeah.
I love Return of Godzilla.
Yeah. I don't know. See, here's the thing. Mine is going to be a favorites list as opposed to an objectively good list, you know?
Right, me too.
And I don't have the same level of nostalgia for 84 that I do with a lot of it, so I don't even know if it's going to be on my list. If objectively, it's one of the best ones. But in terms of personal nostalgia, I don't have that much of a connection. I saw 84 later on in life.
It was my 4th Godzilla movie.
Yes, so you've got a big connection to that movie that I don't have. Same thing with...
I remember the day I got it and the first time I saw it.
Same thing with, like, you and Biollante. I didn't see Biollante until, I think that was like...
Sorry.
I think Biollante was like the second to last one that I saw.
Really? Oh, God. I think that was right after 84 for me.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
For me, it was King Kong versus Godzilla. Then I saw Sea Monster and Megalon. Then 84 or 85 as I saw it, and then Biollante. And then I don't really remember after that. I think Gigan was around there.
After that, it was a blur.
Anyway, so this is definitely on my list. It would go higher for me. I think this actually breaks my top 5. Honestly, because I love me some Godzilla 84. Just a really good story. I love all the characters. The way they handle Godzilla's return is excellent.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I think it's because I saw it so much later, so I don't have the nostalgic connection. It doesn't quite break into my top 10. It's right below. It might even be 11.
Yeah. Now, that being said, to their list, it is drastically better than some of the movies they put ahead of it.
Yeah, given that they are trying to do an objective list of what is the best ones, it's a bit low, don't you think?
Yeah, because especially the way they talk about it. Say what you want about 84 and say what you want about the movies coming up. Objectively, and more than that, the way that they describe it It is better than some of the ones coming up. They talk a lot about how this is one of the best of the series. How it takes Godzilla back to his glory days. How it's very politically filled and very, very slowly paced and emotional and all this great, great stuff. But they put it this low and below some movies that are coming up that really should be this should be above.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird, man. It's really weird.
Including certain movies that, depending on who you are, might not even really need to be on the list.
Oh, especially the next one. But I don't know. It's weird. It should be higher on. It's higher on my list, and it should definitely be higher on their list based on the way they talk about it.
I have the same problem with another movie that's coming up later on in their list. I think they put it too low. Actually, a couple of them, and one that I think is entirely too high.
We'll get to the one that I think is too high, or even that shouldn't be on this list. But I love this movie. I think it should be higher. I don't know. I just think it should be higher, and I think that the way they talk about it especially warrants that, because they talk about it in a way where you think it'd be like number 3, at least. Moving on from number 8, let's move into number 7. This is the most controversial one for me. This is the one where I was like, oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Number 7, the 7th best Godzilla movie, according to WatchMojo.com, is Godzilla vs. Hedorah.
Now, there are some people that might agree with this. There are some.
We know a couple of them. Personally, they're great people.
There are some.
That being said,
some that would
Godzilla vs. Hedorah ain't better than Godzilla 84.
I would not think so, no.
Now, this would not even be in my top 20. I do not care for Godzilla vs. Hedorah.
Let me salivate on that for a moment. No, it's not in my top 20 either.
And the biggest crime for me is it's painfully boring.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put it as like 22.
I can't even categorize it because I don't know which one I like less, this or Megalon.
Yeah, I've still got Megalon lower.
Megalon's lower only because there's this less going on. At least Hedorah is trying to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And at least there are some really creepy scenes in Hedorah.
Yeah.
That being said, dude, boring fucking movie. Painfully boring.
Yeah. And too much randomness.
Very, very random and very, very very, very, it's very, and this has been said a million times by me and everybody else, very, very psychedelic.
Oh, yes.
It jumps all over the place. It's confusing. It doesn't tell a coherent narrative at all. Whenever I walk away from it, I'm just more like, what the fuck did I just watch?
It involves something you don't see every day.
Indeed. Godzilla flying. They don't justify it in their description either, at all.
No.
They say nothing good about it. They just talk about the goofy elements and they move on. It's like, well, why is it here then?
And then they never really explain, and I'm sure there are probably theories out there all over the place, but do they ever explain when Godzilla pulls the, I'm just going to call them Hedorah's cojones, do they ever explain what this is, he pulls them out and...
Oh, yeah. I have no idea what those are supposed to be.
Yeah. Maybe they are.
Could be his balls. Yeah. Could be his...
Maybe they are Hedorah's cojones.
Well, here's the thing we got to realize is that basically the movie does a very, in my opinion, poor job of explaining this. Hedorah is kind of an alien.
Mm-hmm. I get the feeling that they had...
He's a spore that came down to Earth and manifested himself out of pollution.
I almost get the feeling...
Which is something they don't really make clear in the movie.
I get the feeling that whoever came up with the storyline had like a great idea, but then they got drunk right before they wrote it down.
Yoshimitsu Banno, excuse me. That's why I'm so glad that he's only tangentially involved in the new one. He's got great ideas, and he clearly likes the original Godzilla, but something went wrong. I just find it boring, dude. It's just so slow, and it's not doing anything interesting. And I think that don't you think Hedorah would have been much better off as his own monster in his own movie?
I think, and of course at this point, this character had yet to escape from the Godzilla franchise. I've always thought that Hedorah would make more sense as a Mothra villain.
Definitely.
Because of that whole I'm destroying the Earth thing.
Definitely. He would have been a great Heisei Mothra villain.
Oh yeah, he would have been a great Mothra villain. You would have made
instead of that bullshit second one.
You would have made a great nemesis for Captain Planet.
Sure. I'd pay to see a Captain Planet Hedorah movie.
Yeah, definitely. If Hedorah was the villain in Rebirth of Mothra 2, one of the few kaiju movies to ever have the distinction of me falling asleep, I think it would have been a much better.
No, dude, I got a story to tell. I fell asleep during Godzilla Palooza. I was pulling some late nights and some early mornings because I was working during the time. And Godzilla vs. Hedorah was a rough sit, dude. I fell asleep during the fight scene because it's so long and slow, and I fell asleep after the electrocution and woke up when Godzilla was walking away, and I was like, what the fuck happened?
See, I have that but you've seen that in full. I have yet to see Rebirth of Mothra 2 in full just because I tried to watch it once, and...
Yeah, but dude, I've only seen Godzilla vs. Hedorah like 3 times in my life.
Yeah.
So I don't remember that last fight very well. I did rewind when I did Godzilla Palooza because I was like, I'm not going to criticize it without having seen it, but like... Ugh, I mean, that's a bad sign, dude.
You're just like this.
I mean, I've fallen asleep, because here's the thing, there's a difference between falling asleep out of boredom and falling asleep out of just comfort. Like, I put on movies I love to fall asleep to constantly. I put on, Biollante I do a lot, 2000, the original.
I have to make sure never to make the mistake, if I plan to watch a movie to its conclusion, I have to never make the mistake of lying down as I watch it. Same goes with anything I'm watching on TV. I have to sit up through that motherfucker, or else I will be out.
No, I can lay down. I can't fall asleep to Doctor Who because I just get hooked. I'm like, what's gonna happen?
Well, I was that way when I watched the episodes for the first time, but when I'm rewatching episodes, I fall asleep sometimes.
You're just one of those guys who just falls asleep when your head hits the pillow, aren't you?
Ironically, no. It's always at the more inconvenient times, like when I want to watch something and then I fall asleep and I wake up and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I've had that a lot, too. I'll have that listening to podcasts a lot, because there's no video components. I'll just lay down, and the audio just kind of puts me to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck, I missed like a half hour.
I had that with...
But I don't agree with this on the list at all.
I had that with episode 13 of this show. I fell asleep, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to go back. I was there.
I fall asleep editing a lot, too, when I'm listening to the show. Not out of boredom, just out of, I think we have comforting voices.
So, oh yes, very soothing.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I was kidding.
So given the fact that this has turned into a conversation about us falling asleep, I guess you can see how we feel about Godzilla vs. Hedorah.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it should be on this list. The way they talk about it doesn't support it being there anyway, so I don't even think it should be on their list.
Well, they don't do much to support any of their picks anyway, but...
Especially this one, though, because they talk about the goofy elements a lot.
Yeah, I would have rather they had either Mechagodzilla or Gigan in its place.
I like Gigan a lot more than Hedorah, so...
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird. See, here's the thing. I want to go back and rewatch Gigan, because Gigan was kind of like a breath of fresh air for me after watching Hedorah.
Yeah.
That was because I watched that the night afterwards, so it was like, oh god, this is so much more entertaining. Shit's happening.
I had the same experience when I was buying the DVDs in order.
Oh, did you do that? Because this was, I mean, Godzilla Palooza was the only time I will ever watch the Godzilla movies in sequence.
Yeah, when I finally got around to saying, okay, fuck it, I'm going to fill in the gaps on my shelf and own every single one of them.
I still have a couple of gaps, but I have them in other mediums. Like, I don't have the DVD of 2000, but I have it on digital.
When I decided that I was going to do that, I did watch them all in order. Not day by day like you did with Palooza. It was much more casual than that. I I
think I've gone back and rewatched most of them post Palooza though. What haven't I haven't seen. No, I did watch Final Wars recently actually.
I gotta tell you, it's a pain too because some of those 50th anniversary DVDs are so expensive now because they've gone out of print.
And they're shitty.
Yeah, they're not great DVDs either. But you know, if you want the movie, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm definitely getting the Sea Monster Blu-ray. As much as I don't like that movie, I mean, I'll just buy it because I don't have it on DVD. And I still haven't seen the Japanese version, which is apparently quite different.
Apparently.
But dude, that was a $70 DVD when I tried to get it for Palooza because of the fucking them being out of print.
The only one that I don't actually have on DVD is there's a bootleg out there that I need to just break down and buy already is 84.
I have the bootleg, yeah.
I have this one VHS staring at me from the shelf.
Is it the Godzilla 1985 version?
Yes.
So you still haven't seen the Japanese version?
I've seen it online.
Oh, okay.
Through
Yeah, I hadn't seen the Japanese version until I got the bootleg.
through Despicable Methods, I have seen it, but I don't own it.
Despicable Methods. That's how I saw King Kong versus Godzilla on the Japanese cut.
Yeah, just
that was through Despicable Means.
Despicable Methods, savvy.
Savvy.
Pirate jokes.
We had a whole episode called Savvy.
We did. Nothing but pirate jokes now.
Indeed, this be a pirate show. Arr!
We be pirates.
We be hijacking the airwaves. We be savvy
from outer space.
Pirates from outer space. That should be a spin-off show. Dylan, let's move on because we're only at number 6 and we gotta leave at some point.
Yeah, we're
number 6, I totally agree with. Number 6, according to WatchMojo.com, Terror of Mechagodzilla. Totally agree with that. I would leave that there on my list.
Actually, it's higher on my list. Again, partly nostalgia.
Yeah, this was an early one for me as well.
Also, objectively, it's my second favorite Showa film. The first one being obvious.
Really? You put it that high?
While ranking it in terms of Showa, yeah, it's my second favorite other than the original, just because, and again, part of that is nostalgia.
Yeah, no, so I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just interested in why.
It's one of
yeah, but I'm just interested in why.
It's one of the first ones I ever saw. It's one of my favorites.
I mean, it's a great movie. I love Terror of Mechagodzilla. I wouldn't put it that high.
The destruction scenes in it just blow so much of the rest of Showa out of the water.
Oh God.
Love
Teruyushi Nakano he put everything on Front Street with that fight scene. Oh, God.
I've had a lifelong love of Titanosaurus. The score is one of my favorites.
Akira Ifukube fucking owned it this time. Everybody in their final bout was like, we're gonna fucking put everything on Front Street, dude.
Yeah.
Honda did a great directing job. The movie looks gorgeous.
This movie is still the reason why Showa Mechagodzilla is my favorite Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, I mean, he's great in the previous film too, but this one really makes him scary.
Yeah, and the previous film is one of those ones that is great, but I don't have the same level of nostalgia for it just because I saw it later.
It's got a great atmosphere to it as well, and as I've always said, there's a great atmosphere goes a long way in film for me. So
yeah.
You give me a good atmosphere, and I'll probably like your movie at least somewhat.
Yeah, I love the hell out of Terror of Mechagodzilla. Always have. I think I've said this before. I'm not 100% sure what my first Godzilla movie was, but I have it narrowed down to a few, and that is one of them.
Mm-hmm. I remember watching it for the first time on Thanksgiving and taping it, and loving the shit out of it. Because we still grew up in the kind of the heyday of Godzilla movies being played on like AMC on Sundays.
Oh yeah.
And obviously they would play during Monster Fest. The VHS copy of Terror of Mechagodzilla I had for years was a taping off of AMC's Monster Fest in the late '90s, early 2000s. So
I had one of the mini crappy VHS releases.
I never had Terror of Mechagodzilla on VHS. I had the shitty classic media DVD, and now I have the Toho Masterworks one.
And it was weird because that was the only time I had ever seen it, like, because I couldn't find another VHS copy of it for some reason, and I don't know if this is how it is up north, but the way it is down here, up north where you are, up there in that snow country.
Not so much anymore. It's thankfully melting, but go ahead.
If I'm like at a flea market or something and I happen upon a Godzilla VHS, 9 times out of 10 it's Megalon, hands down.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, up here we don't so much have flea markets. We have dollar stores.
Well, we have dollar stores too, but we also have
but we have those in place of flea markets. You know what I mean?
Oh.
I mean, there are flea markets, but we have a lot more dollar stores than we do flea markets, and they kind of take the place of them.
Oh, we do too. There aren't that many flea markets anymore, but that's where I remember getting my first copy of Megalon and taking it home.
That's where I got my first copy of King of the Monsters. Was at a dollar store.
Really?
Yeah. I remember I got Megalon at but both times I owned Godzilla vs. Megalon. The first time was at a Kmart, so it might as well have been a dollar store.
Yeah.
And then the second time was at a dollar store.
Yeah.
Which is the DVD copy I have today. Right?
Yeah.
Yep, that's the DVD copy I have right now. I'm looking at my shelf right now.
Yeah.
There it is.
I pretty much just inherited King of the Monsters, though I did buy another VHS later on because the old one was worn out, and it had like this little documentary thing on it.
Really?
This VHS that I had, yeah. Well, they called it a documentary. It was actually just like trailers for other classic sci.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had that as well. Was Lost Skeleton on there? Because I think Lost Skeleton was on mine.
No, it was all 50s B movies.
I remember the first time I saw the trailer for Lost Skeleton was on one of those classic media VHS tapes.
It's actually on YouTube somewhere. I rewatched it again out of nostalgia recently. They call it a documentary on the VHS box, but it's just them talking about a bunch of 50s B movies, and you're like, I know this is just because they released these on VHS and they want people to buy them.
I remember very vividly seeing the trailer for Rodan for the first time.
Because I remember this was the thing that made me aware of the deadly mantis being a thing.
Likewise, and they fucking try and scare they try to make the praying mantis is like the most terrifying creature on the planet in that trailer.
Also, that movie is it Invaders from Mars or whatever, where like they have like the weird like brain thing in a jar.
Yeah, whatever that was. Yeah.
Yeah. Good time. Good times. The giant claw.
Giant claw, of course. A bird as big as a battleship. A bird as big as a battleship. A bird as big as a battleship.
The planet Venus?
Oh, yeah, the beast is 20 million miles from Earth. Or no, I just fucked up my favorite Ray Harryhausen movie, 20 Million Miles to Earth.
You did. There is no...
So I apologize, monster movie fans. I fucked that up. I love Amir, and I love 20 Million Miles to Earth.
Now you must do monster fan community service.
Fuck you. But I remember very vividly seeing the Rodan trailer for the first time and being terrified by it. I remember this image of you would see that actor's face flashing, just looking terrified, these lights in the background, and then you just see the egg bursting open. And I was like, shit! As a kid. And I really wanted Rodan, and I didn't see Rodan until years later.
And I don't remember if it was in the same documentary, but it was on one of these old VHSs that I first happened upon the trailer for The Blob.
Really? The first Blob movie I saw was the 80s version.
Really?
Yeah, and then I saw the original one. I have this very vivid memory of watching the Blob, the 80s version on a Saturday, and I came in at the end, and it was that shot of the government agent looking at the Blob in a glass jar.
Yeah.
He's in like the middle of a desert or something, and that's where the movie cuts.
Yeah. Setting
up some kind of a sequel.
I don't see, when I was a youngin', I wasn't even aware that there was a remake.
Really? I didn't see the original Blob until, oh god, I don't know, I must have been like 9. I saw it on AMC one night. Yeah. AMC was like that was my shit when I was a kid.
Yeah. It's like I remember the first time I saw the original Fly.
As do I. That was also on AMC, I think. It was either that or TCM.
Yeah, they play it there sometimes.
I saw the remake. The remake. I think I saw the remake of The Fly first, and I remember seeing that. No, I didn't see that on TV. You know what I did? What happened was I saw when I was a kid. I remember they played The Fly 2 on Sci-Fi Channel once.
Yeah.
And I only know that because I only knew that through retrospective. I didn't know that at the time. And I remember coming into my mom's room at like 11 o'clock at night, and she's laying in bed watching a movie, and I turn, and it's that scene from The Fly 2 where they go to the guy's house from the first movie, the guy who got his hand burned off.
Yeah.
And he's like already kind of transforming at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I very vividly remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't know what movie it was from, and my mom said, "Oh, that's from a movie called The Fly, or The Fly 2." And I wanted to go back and watch them, and I saw both movies back to back when I was like 6. Not appropriate movies for a 6-year-old. Thank God I had liberal parents.
Not at all.
And then I rewatched them when I was like, I think I rewatched them, and the last time I saw The Fly was when I was when I was 16. Yeah, I guess when I was 16 was the last time I saw The Fly.
I still need to see the sequel to the original. What's it called? Like Curse of the Fly.
Return of the Fly.
Return of the Fly.
I saw bits and pieces of it. It's a piece of shit.
The one that's for some reason in black and white, even though the first one was in color. Yeah.
It's because it's fucking cheap as hell. It's a piece of shit.
I've heard it is, but I still want to see it. Just say that I've seen all the...
Just like the sequel to the remake.
It's like I just want to be able to see all the Fly movies.
Yeah, the third one, The Curse of the Fly, it's barely a sequel. But they're talking about doing a new remake with Nicolas Cage, which, holy shit, please don't do that. Actually, do that just so we can see Nicolas Cage go crazy.
I'm a fly.
Actually, we don't need to see a Fly remake to see Nicolas Cage go crazy.
I'm Brundlefly.
I'm more of a fly protector. Dylan, what do you say we get through this list?
I am deathly afraid of eight-legged freaks.
Dylan, what do you say we get through this list? Number 5. And another one I agree with. Godzilla vs. Destroyer.
Again,
Totally agree with that.
I think it should be higher.
Yeah, I put it up maybe a space or two, but not much. I like Destroyer, but I don't. It's not like, you know what? It's in my top 5. I don't know if it's higher or if it stays there. It doesn't go lower for sure. But I totally agree with that. They don't really specify why. I mean, they just kind of go, "Hey, Godzilla's about to die," and he fucks shit up.
Yeah, they just
That's about it.
basically,
They don't even mention the Oxygen Destroyer.
They give you a summary of the plot. They call Godzilla Jr. Little Godzilla, which is interesting.
Weird.
Little Godzilla.
And we'll move on.
That should be the name of a rapper, Little Godzilla.
Well, we already have Snoopzilla, so that doesn't work.
Little Snoopzilla.
I don't know. I think that works there. I think that's. I mean, I love me some Destroyer, and I think that it fits there or higher.
Little Waynezilla.
You know what? Based on their list, I would put it higher because the next one is definitely in my top 5, but I actually think I'd swap them exactly. Number 4 is Mothra vs. Godzilla. Again, totally agree with that. It's in my top 5. But I would put that at number 5 and Destroy it at number 5.
Hmm.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Destroy it at number 4. Mothra vs. Godzilla at number 5.
Yeah.
Another really early one for me.
Yeah, love me some Mothra vs. Godzilla.
It is an excellent film. Really.
Interestingly enough, the first Godzilla film that I ever got on DVD, mind you, it was the really crappy classic media release, and later on
I had that too.
Later on, I swapped it out for the Toho Masterworks one, but
yeah, as did I. It was the first time I owned it,
mm-hmm.
But I rented it several times under the title of Godzilla vs. the Thing.
I remember the first time I bought Godzilla movies or a Godzilla movie on DVD, it was that. And at the same time, I also bought Rodan on DVD, that really crappy classic media Rodan.
That was the first time I got Rodan as well.
Yeah. And then I bought 2 Gamera movies.
Do you remember what they were?
The original and the one with Guiron.
Oh, no, it's not Destroy All Planets. It's whatever it was.
The Monsters.
Yeah, that's it. I don't remember any of those titles.
I just looked over.
Gamera 2 has like a million titles. It's like Gamera vs. Barugan, fucking Gamera Strikes Again, War of the Monsters.
Well, isn't there isn't the jury out on what the actual title is on the second Heisei Gamera movie?
Yeah, there's a bunch of there's 2 main ones. There's Gamera 2 Attack of Legion and Gamera 2 Advent of Legion.
I've also seen Attack of the Legion.
Yeah, it goes. I mean, I prefer Advent just because that sounds cooler. But they interchange them pretty randomly. Gamera 3 has a million fucking titles.
Gamera 3, The Search for Gamera.
No, because it's either Awakening of Eurus, Revenge of Eurus, Gamera 3, The Absolute Guardian of the Universe. It's weird. Gamera 3, The Incomplete Struggle.
Gamera 3. This time it's personal.
Gamera Cubed.
Gamera Cubed. Is that an actual title?
Alien 3. Remember, it looks like a cube sign, not a 3.
Yeah.
Oh, Fincher. You silly fuck.
Gamera 3D.
Gamera 3D.
It's not even in 3D.
Gamera the Revenge. Oh, that was the title.
Gamera, the third one.
Gamera the third. Gamera 3 Double D.
Oh my.
Oh my. But I agree with the place of Mothra vs. Godzilla. Love me some Mothra vs. Godzilla. Love the Godzilla suit. Great fight. Really good special effects. Amazing score by Akira Ifukube. Kind of the first classic Godzilla movie, in my opinion. Because King Kong vs. Godzilla is still kind of prototypey. And then I think that this is kind of the first of the classic Godzilla series. Because, I don't know, King Kong vs. Godzilla always seems separate to me.
I don't know. I would say that, yeah, King Kong versus Godzilla is still a bit prototypey. It's leaps and bounds ahead of what we had in Raids Again.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, Raids Again is like, let's not even count that.
Raids Again is like watching a chimp wrestle an alligator.
It is. It almost is exactly. I mean, you got to give them credit for what they could do with that rudimentary fighting techniques, but yeah, Raids Again is a rough one.
All it's given us is freeze frames that people use to make it look like Gamera and Anguirus. I mean, Godzilla and Anguirus are fucking.
Gamera and Anguirus.
No, Godzilla and Anguirus are fucking.
Yeah, they do.
I did.
But I totally agree with that place. And now we're getting to where we start to disagree a little bit. I think these are in my top 10, but they're not in my top 5. Number 3, Godzilla Final Wars.
I think it should be lower.
I agree. I would put 84 above this.
I think.
And Terror of Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where it would be, but it would be lower than this. I mean,
I think this would be like number 8 for me.
This would be on the list just because of how fun it is.
Yeah, definitely. I just think it's a weird one to put here because of how it's. I mean, it's a big homage movie. It's not really and they say that in the video where they're like, it's not really a Godzilla movie. It's more of an homage movie, and it's like that's totally true. So why are you putting it this high?
It's a great 50th anniversary special.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Definitely. Definitely, for sure. I just think it should be lower just based on it's really flawed. It's a heavily flawed movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more about the homage than it is about telling a story. And the action sequences. So, and the biggest problem with that is that we come here to see Godzilla and he's not in it until like 45 minutes in.
Right. Well, he's in the beginning, but
yeah, but he's in it before the fucking credits are. So
it doesn't count.
But the bigger problem is he's not even mentioned until about 40 minutes in.
Right. It's like, hey, you remember?
That's the bigger problem.
You remember that one monster? We're gonna wake him up.
You remember the guy whose name is in the title? You should probably mention him.
Yeah, we're gonna wake him up now.
Yeah, let's bring him in.
That would be like having a Batman movie, where at some point in the movie, where it's about these characters dealing with a situation, and then like 45 minutes in, they were like, hey, I think we need to enlist the help of Batman.
So Batman Returns. I'm kidding. I hate Batman Returns, though.
Yeah, that's Batman shows up much.
I think Batman Returns is a shitty movie.
Batman shows up a lot earlier than 45 minutes in that movie.
No, but he's barely in it, so. And it's I don't know. I don't like Batman Returns. It's a sloppy movie, and I don't like any of the villains. Just not a fan. I know it has its fans, which is fine, but I just think it's a crappy movie.
Yeah, I think Michelle Pfeiffer does fine.
I'd fuck her.
I think if Danny DeVito had been written differently, he could have been a great Penguin.
Sure. Final Wars is on there, but it's a lot lower for me. Number two. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Again, on there, lower. I'd put 84 here. Terror of Mechagodzilla, Destroya, Mothra vs. Godzilla even. King Ghidorah is a great one. I think it's like number 7 for me. Number 8 maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Would they have it again? 2?
2.
That's a tad high for that one.
Especially because, again, Godzilla's not in it until about 45 minutes in.
Again, the
difference here is, though, it's drastically better than Final Wars because the plot is entirely centered around him. He's talked about in almost every scene, but very slow movie.
I mean, we've already mentioned that they have a hard-on for King Ghidorah, and this...
Yes, I mean, he's been in a bunch of these, so...
This is personally my favorite movie to feature him. But... Yeah, totally.
But I think it should be lower. Just because I feel like the movie, it's got, again, first things first, it's got a major plot hole. How the fuck do they know who Godzilla is?
Right? Yeah.
When they remove him from history.
Yeah.
Well, and the bigger problem is, I don't mind them knowing who he is, but time doesn't seem to have been altered at all. When you fuck with time, people are gonna know about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or more, it's gonna change things that have happened. It seems like they just removed one specific element and then everything else remained the same.
You can't remove Godzilla from history and then still have people saying, oh, it's Godzilla. They don't know who he is anymore. He does not exist. This should not be happening.
And the question is, though, what people have always said is, there's a bunch of theories as to why they do and what the continuity is, but based on how the movie plays, Godzilla's first appearance in the movie and in history is when he comes out of the water for the first time.
Yeah.
That's how it's played. So that's how I take it. More than that, they say this Godzilla is different because it was made with modern nuclear weapons. So, to me, that says that this is the first time he's appeared and he's bigger and badder this time.
Right.
So, great movie, major plot hole. There's some really shitty dialogue in it. Take that, you dinosaur!
Oh, the only line in a Godzilla movie that I have ever,
Cringed at.
physically recoiled.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
The only line that ever makes me embarrassed to be watching a Godzilla movie.
Yeah, totally. It's like, oh, I'm watching this movie. The movie would Take That, You Dinosaur.
I remember
the first half hour is great.
I remember the first time somebody looked at me when that line came up, and I was like, I cannot defend that.
I give in. This is shit.
No. That was a terrible line.
It was a crappy line.
Everything with the American soldiers in that movie is pretty bad, but that was just the icing.
Thank God they don't get a lot of face time.
The ice.
Because they are shit. It's like the first cut of the American actors in King Kong versus Godzilla. It's just they're clearly not American.
Yeah.
And it's just shit.
All pretty bad, but that line just put the icing on the shit cake.
Indeed. But great otherwise. The fights are amazing.
Yeah.
Overall, the special effects are incredible. Good story, great story, as a matter of fact. I feel like it could be shorter. I think they could have trimmed some of the fat out to get to the meat more quickly. But otherwise, I think it's a great movie. I just think it's a little slow at points. I don't know. I just think it's a little slow at points, and I think it should be lower. Just on a sheer enjoyment factor.
I think it should be.
But there are some amazing iconic scenes, and obviously my favorite scene is Shindo.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love Shindo. Sorry, I'm really tired.
Yeah, like you, I think it should be lower on the list. Because as you said, it is slow at moments. It's the movie that said, "Take that, you dinosaur." There are points when I look at the future people and I'm like, I don't 100% understand your methods.
Or motivations.
Or your motivations.
What do you want?
Or your motivations. It gets very convoluted.
Very, very convoluted.
The second act of the movie is one big head scratcher.
Yeah, because, I think the idea is that they want to destroy Japan before it becomes financially successful. Which their method for doing so, I guess.
They sabotage the stock market.
Well, because they can always bounce back. I think the idea is they want to wipe Japan off the map. Is their idea.
You can nuke. You're from the future. You should have some sort of future nuke or something.
No, they don't. That's the point, is that they don't have any nuclear weapons.
Well, even so.
That's why they had to travel in time.
Even so, they're from the future. I'm pretty sure they're smart enough to build something. You don't have to create a kaiju.
It's all part of the whole conceit of the whole thing, but yeah, it's a little bit weird.
The only thing I really don't like about the way Ghidorah is portrayed in this movie is that I prefer the classic idea of Ghidorah being your space-traveling destroyer of worlds. Galactus, as I said before. I prefer that origin for him. Having him be a man-made thing is...
Yeah, it's weird.
It's just...
I don't buy that it would do... I don't buy that the same bomb that made the original Godzilla would do to those Dorats what it does.
Yeah, why doesn't it just create 3 giant golden dragons? Why does it create one 3-headed one?
Because they had to make it King Ghidorah, that's why. That's really the only reason, because that's what they wanted to happen. It's fine, but it's like, why lightning? Where does the lightning come from?
Right.
At least in the space sense, it's like, know where it comes from, so it could be anything, but where does the lightning come from with a nuke?
Yeah.
Because Godzilla's atomic ray it's expelling atomic radiation.
When Ghidorah is an alien, I can believe that he is powered by lightning.
Or solar radiation, according to some continuities. I think Mothra is where they had that.
One of my theories has always been that maybe he takes other forms of energy and then converts it into lightning. But
sure.
But when it's a man-made thing and you have the same margin for him as Godzilla, I'm like, shouldn't he just have blue atomic blast?
Totally. Why does he? Yeah, I totally agree. What happened to his arms? They don't have arms, do they?
No. The Dorettes had no
All
arms.
right. Fair enough.
Like little bat cat.
Right.
Fucking weird. And they have green hair. Why do they have green hair?
No, because it was a reference to the original design. Because the new one doesn't have hair.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of a cool reference. But, I mean, other thing. Mecha King Ghidorah. Fuck you. Take my money.
But was the hair on the original green?
No, but it was... They did that to make it stand out, I think.
Okay.
It is, but in the original, it is a darker color than his golden skin tone. So maybe it could be. We never get close enough to find out.
No.
But I agree with it being on this list. I think it should just be lower.
As you said, Mecha King Ghidorah. Oh.
Obviously, and I love its place in the continuity. I mean, the whole reason for G-Force existing is because of the events of this movie, and I've got a fucking G-Force tattoo, so respect.
Put that motherfucker in another movie.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if it'd work in the Legendary series, but put him in the IDW comics.
Especially not in this movie. If just like Mecha King Ghidorah obviously showed up.
It's like I don't even know if they could get away with Mecha Godzilla in this continuity. Maybe later on, but not now.
I think they can later on.
With the development of time, maybe, but I don't know. You couldn't do Gigan in this continuity.
Depends on if they decide to go the whole alien route later on.
Maybe. I doubt it. If they do, if they do aliens, it'll be probably more like Hedorah, where it's kind of a spore that kind of builds off Earth. I think the way to do it is you kind of do it like Space Godzilla, where...
I think if they were going to do it, then they would just have to... This was probably going to happen. They would probably do like a few more movies that are like this one, just like really dark and serious. And if they ever decided to go goofy, they would probably need to reboot again.
Yeah, well, the thing, if they're going to do more goofy Godzilla, I'd say give it to Toho and just let them do it, and do it with suits. I don't know, there's just a charm to that I would like to see again. But yeah, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, I don't even know if we have to talk about... Well, actually, before we get to the first one, they all said, with all their top 10 lists, Watch Mojo always does a series of honorable mentions. Mm-hmm. And the clips that they show for that are King Kong vs. Godzilla, which you know I agree with. That's in my top 10. I don't know where. It used to be number 2, but that's more nostalgia than anything else. King Kong vs. Godzilla is not a movie that holds up very well.
Yeah, let's try to be a tad objective anyway.
Okay, it's like number 10. Fine, Dylan, be that way. It's just a fun movie. I rewatched it like a couple weeks ago. I fucking love that movie.
Dude, I understand. It's exactly how I feel about Man with the Golden Gun.
True. All right, fair enough.
It's in my top 10, but it's like at number 10 because it's only in there for how awesome it is.
All right, fine. Kong vs. Godzilla is number 10. Destroy All Monsters. All right. I like Destroy All Monsters, but it's... Destroy All Monsters is like... The problem with Destroy All Monsters is that the monsters are not at the forefront. It's a lot more about the aliens and the fighting and the human fighting. It's very Final Wars in that regard. And there's only one monster fight in the whole movie, so that was another thing. But sure, why not? And obviously, this should have been on the list somewhere. GMK. You put Godzilla vs. Hedorah on this list, but you don't put fucking GMK on that list?
Yeah, what is wrong with you?
Are you high?
What is wrong with you, Watch Mojo?
There's something fundamentally wrong with this list if GMK is not on it, but Godzilla vs. Hedorah is on it.
There is a problem with your science there, okay? I don't... Your
science is not sound.
It's not sound. If I'm debating...
Even Astro Monster, it's like, put GMK there if you don't like... If you like... Even if you like Astro Monster more, GMK is a better movie just objectively.
Agreed.
And then very, very cutely, they put one dishonorable mention, which was Godzilla 98. That was cute.
I enjoyed that, yes.
I enjoyed that as well. When they showed the clip, I was like, why are they putting that there? And then it said dishonorable mention. I was like, oh, okay, that's cute. But obviously, at number 1, of course, couldn't get away from it, is Godzilla's Revenge. Really, Dylan? You didn't find that funny? Okay.
Sorry. What'd you say?
Oh, you didn't hear me?
Well
now the joke is, it's not going to be funny anymore.
I know that we're also listing movies, so I'm trying to figure out mine.
I said, of course, number one is Godzilla's Revenge.
Oh, of course, yes.
No, of course, the first one, of course, is Gojira. Or Godzilla King of the Monsters, which they don't differentiate between, but again, casual Godzilla fans, so they're not gonna. Of course, do we even have to say anything? Of course that's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Still an amazing piece of cinema. What my favorite movie of all time. I just get them feels whenever I watch it. I mean, part of it's nostalgia, but I just think it's a powerful film.
Right.
In several ways. A true classic to me. I don't know. Great tonally, just an amazing movie. When was the last time you watched Gojira? Because it's been a while for me. I should rewatch it. It's been about a year. It's a movie I try to revisit at least twice a year.
It hasn't been a year for me. A month or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a while for me. I really need to sit down and rewatch it.
I think it was in January.
Really? That recently? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit down and give it a rewatch. I try to watch that movie twice a year. So yeah, pull out my gorgeous Criterion Blu-ray and fucking pop that shit in.
Gorgeous.
Sexy ass Criterion Blu-ray.
Oh, it is a sexy ass motherfucking piece of disc.
Piece of disc. Piece of aluminum. Dylan, stealing of, I don't know if I don't want to go back through do our own top 5 now because that's going to take too long. We're already an hour and 45 in.
Mm-hmm.
So what we'll do instead is, since we've gone through Watch Mojo's list, which better than expected, but questionable at points.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is Godzilla vs. Hedorah doing there?
I would be forced to agree with that assertion. There are just some choices on here that make me question some sanity.
Indeed. No GMK, but Godzilla vs. Hedorah. So what I will ask of you to do instead is movies that are in your top 10 that they did not list. Really, the only two for me, Godzilla 2000 and Godzilla vs. Biollante.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely Godzilla 2000. I don't know if are you counting the honorable mentions? Because if not, GMK, why the hell wasn't it on their list?
Let's just do ones that weren't mentioned at all.
Okay, so yeah, 2000.
Does Biollante make it for you, or just no?
That's what I'm debating.
I mean, again, part of it's nostalgia, but I just think that's a pimp-ass Godzilla movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Trying to just...
A bit slow, points granted, but I think it's. I rewatched that drunk on New Year's Eve, famously or infamously rather. I just think it's filled with ideas, and you know the best thing you can do with a Godzilla movie is just pack it full of interesting ideas. And obviously Gondo. Gondo's my main man. I'm thinking of, I don't know what it would be, but I really want to get a Gondo tattoo.
A Gondo tattoo.
I don't know what it would be though. But anyway. So what else for you, Dylan?
2000, like you said. Let's see what else.
Mechagodzilla 2 for me.
Yeah.
Lower, but I'd put it on there. I love Godzilla 2.
Yeah, I would probably have to agree about Biollante needing to be up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really, really interesting movie, and great special effects. Holy shit, they're amazing in that movie.
I've got to sit down one of these days and make an actual list. It's so hard.
It is.
There are 28 movies in this franchise, and only 3 that I outright dislike. 4 if you count 98.
Yeah. Well, how about this? Tell you what, want to do this next week? We'll sit down and do an official list. It's up to you.
We can give it a shot, sure.
Sure, why not? We'll do top 5 favorite Godzilla movies next week on Demons from Outer Space.
Should we do top 5 other than 54? Because I think 54 is such a given.
Yeah, I agree. I've always tried to do that with Godzilla lists, is always just kind of be like, 54 is the best no matter what, so just kind of discount that. Automatic number 1. That's the buy, if you will. But, I mean, the only other one I would say that's not on here that deserves mention is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, the original.
Yeah.
Just because of importance of the franchise and just campy fun. Really well-paced movie. Shockingly well-paced for a 70s Godzilla movie. Really well-paced.
It's the movie that came up with the idea of Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, they were borrowing a little bit from Mechanicon, but still.
But he's so much better than Mechanicon.
Oh, he fucking blows Mechanicon out of the water, but still. But yeah, we'll go into our whole big top 5 shebang next week.
And I mean, he has Terminator skin.
Yeah, it's just amazing, dude. It's just amazing. But yeah, we'll go into the whole big. Dylan and I will do our top 5 favorite Godzilla movies next week as kind of a big thing. Or
you know what that movie is? That movie is Godzilla meets the Terminator meets Planet of the Apes.
You know what, Dylan? I'm almost wondering, maybe we should save that.
For what?
For the week the movie comes out. That might be better.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
So tell you what, we're going to hold off on that.
That's going to be interesting, by the way, is seeing how our lists change once this movie comes out. Will it make it?
Yeah, if it'll break it, I don't know. We'll see.
In the overall rankings, will some movies get bumped up because this one was worse than them? Or what happens?
Here's my question. I mean, what Gareth Edwards says that I find interesting is that he wants this to be considered part of that canon, meaning he wants it to be in the same ranks. Because a lot of people consider 98 to be separate from the Godzilla series. And Gareth Edwards has very much said, I want this to kind of be included. So if it is as good as it looks, then it definitely will.
I see 98. I see 98 as a chain of events that may or may not be in your continuity, just depending on.
Awesome.
I mean that because that's what they did with GMK and with Final Wars and with Rulers of Earth most recently.
Yeah, but we don't know if the movie 98 is in the continuity of Rulers of Earth. I mean, from what they say, I mean, it looks like that was Zilla's first appearance. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. 98 just screws everything up.
We won't even talk about 98. So,
but if you'd like to hear my
top...
thoughts on Zilla, go watch that thing.
Yeah, I have several reviews of Godzilla 98 on my channel, so you don't need to look far from me. What do you say we hold off on the top 5 though, and save that for a more appropriate time? Because we kind of did a whole Godzilla video or whole Godzilla podcast this episode. So,
yeah.
What do you say we hold off on that? We'll come up with something else to do next week.
One movie I think that should have been on this list, Godzilla Goes to College. That should be on there.
From Boy Meets World, nice. Godzilla Meets the Princess of Mars from The Great Body Shop, which was one of those. Did you ever have that as a kid?
No, but you told me about it.
Yeah, it was this I don't know what it was. It was like this pamphlet with like stories and shit in it about the body. I don't know. If anybody else had The Great Body Shop in their school, leave a comment, because I don't really know how to describe it.
I think Godzilla vs. the Legendary Wolfman should have been on the list.
Oh, I hope they play that at G-Fest this year.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't there rumors of them doing that?
Yeah, of a finished, completed version, which I don't know how that'll work, but...
Oh, I hope they play it, and they sell it on DVD, and they fucking sign it.
Yeah, capitalist fucks.
People, show up in cosplay as the Legendary Wolfman.
I'm pretty sure it's been done. But aside from that, I don't know, Dylan. I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Demons from Outer Space.
Do we have something to do?
I mean, nothing that we don't. Two things actually. One, World War G 5 coming up this weekend. On Adam Noyce's channel. Be sure to check that out. Just for announcements, no SOS this week again. Just to make sure everybody knows, no SOS this week. We're going to replace it with World War G. And as always, be sure to like the Sons of Sarazawa Network homepage on Facebook in the description below.
Also, since there's no SOS this week, this is the kind of announcement I would usually make on SOS. And this is something that's very far into the future, but we are still interested in the prospects of a Musla comic.
We are.
So if there's anybody there that can do art, effectively and sequentially, give us your resume, I guess.
Just drop us a line and we'll see. We've gotten a couple of submissions.
We have.
The search is ongoing.
The search is ongoing.
So we're still looking. We're still writing. So we're still looking to do that though. So let us know if you're interested, if you're a pop artist or whatever. But otherwise, Dylan, anything else?
I don't think so.
All right then. I think that's gonna do it for this week's episode of The Demons from Outer Space. I'm Bill Worster, aka Zazubaar.
And I am Super DN64.
And them Germans, they be fucked up because they see nothing